Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you had an awesome weekend. Welcome to Stock Trading Pro. Today's Stock Market Live is going to talk about a potential bullish reversal in this bearish tone that we've had to the stock market for the last 6 weeks. 6 weeks of lower lows where the sellers just kept coming in and pushing things down. We have a bunch of potential stock picks today, but I want to make something blatantly clear at the beginning of this video. We are not talking about the entire market reversing. We're talking about the potentiality of the next 5 to 10 days being a bullish momentum move off the lows. And then that's going to be the big picture of whether or not that's a longer term reversal. I do not think it's going to be a longer term reversal. I do, however, though, see plenty of signs of life in some bullish stocks. And we're going to run through a big list of potential bullish stocks. We're going to talk about the futures. I'm going to give you exact ideas for this entire week, which, by the way, that's a very important thing. You need to game plan the objective around your trading strategy. I know we have a lot of people here on the daily live stream with us, as well as watching the video, who have full-time jobs. So a big part of that is not which stocks am I going to trade today, which stocks am I going to trade this week. That's very important distinction. So it actually makes it easier that you're not looking for new ideas every single day. One of the things we talk about, and this is a really, really big beef that I have, actually, excuse me, it's my anniversary, sorry. One of the biggest beefs that I have, and maybe it's you, maybe it's not, I don't know, but we get all these people asking us about win-loss percentage. Win-loss percentage should not be your major metric. You can make money on 9 out of your 10 trades and have a 90% win-loss percentage. That is not, I am telling you, that is not the number one metric you should be looking for. It's, did your account grow? Did you make enough on your winning trades that offsets the expenses of losing trades? It's not win-loss percentage. It is how much did you make on the trades? Again, I can't say this strongly enough, and I want to say this in a way that matters to you. It's about learning how to make more on your winners. It's about understanding how to stack the order flow, how to read the tape, how to get it near the optimal entry. But that's only the first part. The second part is getting to the point where you got that big fish on the line, where the market conditions unfold in a really beautiful way. And then you need to hold it. The hard part is sitting. And everybody in this market right now is just like such a short-term, got to ring that register. The bigger money is made by holding the great trades that you lined up. And I want to fire you up for this week because I am so ready to trade this week, because I do think, despite the futures being down a little bit right now, that we're going to have a rally. And here's the big thing. I'm going to break it down because we have a couple of different lists of stocks that I want to watch today, and I want to walk you through. We're going to go through the top 20 industry groups. We're going to break down those industry groups into some stocks that have some bullish price action to consider this week. We're going to get a little bit into sector rotation, and then we're going to have another list of stocks we're going to keep an eye on this week too. So we have a ton of stuff to cover this week. So stick around. I'm going to be back in just 1 second. Okay, so thank you so much for being here with me today. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. Everything we talk about here is for educational purposes. It's up to you to make those final decisions. I see a lot of people here. I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined up for our new boot camp, which actually starts today. Very excited. We're 2 weeks of intense training. This is how psyched I am just to start the boot camp with everybody. So I can't wait. So we're actually hop over and we're going to take a look at the futures, and we're going to set the tone for one of the biggest things. So the futures are actually down a little bit today. And if we go over to the Thursday and Friday price action, I'm actually going to work our way over into the SPY and the hourly chart. So on the SPY, again, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know that last Thursday was a bullish U-turn, which means that it reversed and closed above the open and closed in the previous day's range. Friday, actually bullish gap held. We're down a little bit this morning, but I want to map out the entire week because this is really critical. I can't say this enough. Tomorrow is going to be the big day. We had a push off the lows, unbelievably great active short-term trading on Thursday and Friday, probably AMD. And I just want to show you this. If you didn't happen to take advantage of AMD on Friday, this was where we were watching it on Friday, and it only takes one of these moves. So again, I want to get this across, and I want to say this in such an important way that I can't say it strongly enough. If you learn to manage the downside and you understand that trading losses are nothing more than a business expense, you get one trade like this that unfolds. This one trade can make your entire week. And even if you only catch the middle of this move, which was an $8 move on Friday morning, and you bet your bottom dollar we were all over it on Friday morning, even if you catch the middle of this $8 move, even without big share size, you still could have made your entire week just Friday morning. But the only way that would have been possible is if while the market was chopping back and forth during the week, you did not overtrade, you did not trade too much share size, and you didn't get chopped up. Because if you're down here, and this is zero, if you're kind of floating around plus or minus, and then a couple of trades follow through, it's much easier for you to be profitable. If you overtrade, take too much risk, and don't understand that the market's choppy and not really conducive to sizing up, you're going to dig yourself a hole, and then you get easier trades, and now you're fighting your way back to zero instead of being profitable. So I want to go back to the point that I made before. Win-loss percentage doesn't mean a dang thing. It doesn't. What matters is how did you handle your risk, your losses, and did you eventually learn how to hold the good trades longer? And holding the good trades longer breaks it down into understanding how to read the tape, building an argument for the market, building an argument for sector rotation, building an argument for the industry groups, which actually we're going to talk about that right now in this list here. You might want to take a snapshot of that. So that's the list of groups that we'll take a look at right now. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that list. But the big thing I want to get across here is if you're taking a look at that list, what's not on that list right now? What's not, and what actually say what is? Beverages, tobacco, paper products, going to the movies, entertainment. Obviously, Disney and Netflix not doing well right now. Utilities, we actually want to talk about these guys here. Home improvement is actually a part of the list right now as well. Now, obviously, the housing market's getting a lot of publicity right now, and it looks like that they're in the I don't want to say a bad word. They're not doing well right now, right? But we're seeing that they are consolidating on heavy volume, which is showing signs of accumulation. So we have to make that distinction between home repair over the summer from the bigger, longer-term housing market. So we take a look at Lowe's and Home Depot and those kind of things. So we're actually going to break down this list. I promised that we were going to get into some ideas. I want to get into some bullish ideas. But before we do that, I want to hop on back over into the market. And I want to go back over to the SPY. And I want to tell you what I'm looking at for the next 2 days. And remember what I'm telling you right now. Friday's price action, Tuesday's price action is more important than today's. So if we see a little bit of selling today, which it looks like we're going to end up seeing some selling, that's fine. And we actually want to bring this out, and I'm going to go over here. What I'm doing right now is I want to walk you through the mindset and the game planning process to set up the day, the week, the month, and future pace what we're looking for. A lot of people are like, here's what happened yesterday. Here's what happened yesterday. I don't care what happened yesterday. You, me, all of us, we're trading today and tomorrow. So that's why we do this in the morning. We want to make sure that we're looking forward to trades going forward. So Monday today could be choppy, could be a little bit of back and forth. I don't care where we're trading right now. It's after the market opens that matters to me. Tomorrow is the big day because I'm looking for a follow-through day on volume. And I want to show you what I mean by that on the hourly chart. So you can see here on the hourly chart, we pulled back pretty decent amount from 460 down to, let's just say 385, right? So as you keep drawing trend lines and you see this thing continuing to try and find a bid, every time it finds a bid, it just hits the skids again, right? Found a bid, sold off. Found a bid, sold off. Now, here's the thing that I want to talk about, and this is a big part of trading where you need to keep your trading simple, simple, simple. So if you know classic technical analysis, you know that the SPY hourly chart is forming what is known as an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, I know you're like, oh my God, that's so simple. Why doesn't that doesn't work? All we're looking for is patterns, and then we're looking for follow through off of those patterns. So what we're looking for here is we broke this downtrend line, and now this 404 level is the big level. So I'm telling you what I'm looking for now as the week unfolds. You can see a lot of activity around 404, a lot of activity around 404, and a lot more activity on Friday again, right around the 404 level, give or take, right? I'm going to say it's 404 because that's the big level that we've been watching in the community, okay? So how does that translate into being ready to trade this week? And completely going back to what I said before about understanding when to size up, when to hold longer, when you have that short-term price action, the bullish price action on your favor. I'm already telling you, I'm expecting Monday to be a little bit of back and forth, probably two-sided trading. Tuesday, which would be the fourth day after we rallied on Thursday, last Thursday, if Tuesday closes strong with increased volume, that is going to tell me that we are now looking at a short-term bullish reversal in the context of that bearish order flow. So if you're new to the channel, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And if you happen to be new to the channel, hit subscribe if you're getting some value out of these videos. What we're talking about, the bearish order flow, is the longer term picture that we just worked here, which is also in play from the beginning of the year. So the dominant force right now is selling pressure. Now, the difference between this rally and this rally for 3 days was the FOMC announcement. This is just buyers stepping back in after a 6-week move to the downside. So again, John's asking here, is the bottom in? I want to be clear about this because I get misquoted all the time, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page so we can make some money together. We are calling a short-term momentum reversal. So we are looking for, again, 404. Keep that number in mind. I'm telling you now, it's 7:40 in the morning on Monday. Above 404 and a close above 404 in the S&P 500, the SPY ETF, especially on increased volume, that's going to matter to me. And I'm going to start to look a little bit more aggressive on the long side of trades if that happens. So the big challenge that a lot of people are having, and I can understand where that challenge is coming from, it is big volume coming off the lows, but still pushing down, right? If you know classic technical analysis, you want to see a pause on light volume. A pause on light volume means that the likelihood of continuing is still good. A pause on heavy volume means that something has changed. So you want to write that down. Heavy volume pause means something changed. Now, that doesn't mean, yeah, let's get into everything we can buy going in the other direction. That's not, it's just you're noticing something. It's kind of like you're driving in the car, 2 cars in front of you, put their brake on. You're like, okay, something changed, but I'm still going in that direction. Then you need to see if it opens up. So I just told you what I'm looking for this week, and especially Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday for me is the big day. Write that down, and we're going to have a big conversation about that as this week unfolds, okay? And by the way, if you have any questions about any of the terminology that I'm talking about on these videos, leave a comment below the video, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I know we use a lot of professional trading terminology, and if anything is new to you, definitely leave a comment. I promise. I actually probably have a video for it. I'll link the video for you to help you understand it. So that being said, we talked about this list here. We're going to actually dive a little bit deeper into this list to find some ideas that already are showing bullish order flow despite the market showing bearish order flow. So I'm going to do a little bit more of a deep dive here into some of these ideas, and we're going to walk through them, okay? So on the beverage side of things, we're going to be looking at TAP. So you can see here TAP is showing relative strength. So again, just a quick visualization. You can see where TAP is here, and you can see where the SPY is here. So very, very quick. What we're looking for right now is relative strength, okay? We're looking for relative strength in stocks that are showing buying pressure as the market is going down, okay? That's the first thing that we're going to be looking at right now. So I'm going to go back and give you the entire list, okay? So TAP is one of them. The other group we're going to work our way over into is what's known as packaged foods right now. So CPB, okay, you can see some nice bullish order flow there. General Mills has been one that's been on the list for a while. Now, one of the biggest things that I want to talk about here is a lot of people talk about there's no opportunities. And I can't say this enough. One of the secrets of what we do, and I hate to use that word secret, but one of the secrets is hard work. One of the secrets is actually diving in and doing some hard work, and you'll find the ideas that are not obvious. We already just pointed out 4 of them to you while the market was going down. These stocks are showing buying pressure. Actually, I want to, Jerry's asking here about energy. So I just want to pull something up on the screen here, which is a good article here. So Warren Buffett spending big. That's obviously good news, right? But again, here's what he's talking about. They're buying energy stocks as inflation soars, and specifically Chevron and Oxy. So Oxy Chevron, and ATVI. So let's actually take a look at those three. So thanks so much for that, Jerry. So let's take a look at Chevron, which has actually been in a trading range for the better part of the last, oh gosh, I don't know, 6 weeks. So Chevron over 175 is the level. Oxy is a different one that has shown some really good strength. You can see it finally broke through the 6150 level, down a little bit this morning, but I still like the buy. ATVI is one that is on the Warren Buffett list. You can see obviously the news story has not changed, but EA is another one in that group that we're looking for a breakout. Again, big move off the bottom with some big volume. Again, so I want to stick to the list. I want to make sure that we continue to get through some of the other ideas. So we just gave you CPB, right? So CPB showing some good relative strength there, as well as GIS, KHC, okay, Kraft, obviously right near a breakout level as well. Now, again, I just can't stress this strongly enough. We get a lot of people come into the community, and one of the biggest things, especially in the current market conditions, is I am teaching people to make money on both sides of the market. And I know that sounds like a commercial, so please forgive me, that's not a commercial. One of the primary things that I did when I first started trading, which was April of 2000, was I started trading in a bear market. So I had to learn how to short sell stocks very, very quickly. We have a lot of new members coming into the community saying, I don't know how to short sell stock. I only know how to buy stock. And that's completely okay. And they follow that up with, there's no good ideas. We've already shown you 6 good ideas of the best stocks to buy now while the market's going down. These stocks are already showing bullish order flow prior to the market going down. So again, I want to show you this really quickly because this is where it starts. It starts here looking at the industry groups, and then you dive deeper into the industry groups. One level above that is breaking it down into the sector rotation. And obviously you can see sector rotation on Friday was just off the hook. Awesome. But we broke it down a little bit deeper because if you go over here and look at the longer term order flow, we aren't seeing good longer term order flow. It was just on Friday. So the theme for this week is we are looking for bullish follow through with volume. It's got to be both of those things. Again, one of the biggest challenges that we see with new members coming into our community is they think it's just one thing. Just tell me the one thing I need to know to make money. It's not one thing. And I go back at them and I say, which one's more important, the brake or the steering wheel or the gas pedal? And of course, everybody laughs because it's not one, it's all of those things. So if you can remember that when you're trading, the more of those things that you could put into the argument for choosing to take risk, for choosing to believe that there's a good chance you're going to hit your profit target, it's because of the order flow, it's because of the market, it's because of the group, it's because it had earnings. Like the more of those pieces you can put into the argument, that's what we call tape reading. It's really understanding how to build that argument. And if you're struggling right now, you're probably not going a little bit deep enough into finding great ideas. And again, we just gave you 6 already. We're going to talk about Walmart in a second and what I believe is going to happen to Walmart this week. Earnings for Walmart are scheduled for tomorrow. So I'm speaking to you now, okay? If 2022 has beaten you up and you're like, psh, 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 like and no matter where you turn, the market's beating you up, all I'm going to do is challenge you to do a little bit extra game planning research and then see before you look to buy that stock, how many different reasons can you say, I think it's going up because of this, and I think it's going up because of this. If it's only one reason, you didn't dig deep enough. So I'm challenging you, go just a little bit deeper, okay? We want to get into Walmart here. I want to talk about the earnings on Walmart, which are coming out tomorrow, and we broke it down a little bit. So you can see actually now, from the lows of February into where it peaked out in April. And again, if you go back to our sector rotation sheet, consumer defensive, which is where Walmart is, consumer defensive, consumer staples, whatever you want to call it, has been strong, and it's been strong for a while, right? However, pretty decent pullback, but it stopped right at the 50 period moving at 50 period, 50% retracement level, which is the level where I look to buy. Now, if Fibonacci's are new to you, again, remember I said, put a comment below and I'll make sure I get back to you. If Fibonacci's are new to you, a Fibonacci retracement is nothing more than telling you how strong is the previous trend that I'm measuring. So in this case here in Walmart, we're measuring that previous move from the low to the high, and you have certain levels, which you can see there. Let me go back over here. These levels are telling you a shallow pullback, a little deeper pullback, and this one's the 50%. So if I could just give you some insight into how I use that, the 50% level is the last level that I would look to be a buyer of a stock, because that pulled back pretty deep If it holds that level, I'll start to look to build a position. If it goes deeper than 50%, that means the previous trend that I'm measuring is no longer valid, and then I'd look for a new idea. In this case, ahead of earnings, which are scheduled for tomorrow in Walmart, it pulled back, held the 50% level. And what's kind of cool, but look at that, bam, 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 and right there again. So do you think that's an important level? And again, this was not intentional. I'm going to actually take this off here again. I'll do it for you just from scratch so you can see where it came from. We just went from that low to that high, and it happens to coincide with all of these levels. So again, I want to say this clearly. This is all for educational purposes. I'm telling you what I'm doing. Walmart, heading into earnings tomorrow in one of the strongest sectors in the market right now, pulled back to a level that has shown monstrous significance. Again, go once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. This level has been big, which is right around the 147 level. Let's just say that for argument's sake. Okay. So I am looking for Walmart earnings after they've now pulled back to be pretty good. And I'm expecting that 147 level to hold, because now we've sold off for the better part of 3 weeks in one of the strongest sectors into that monstrous level. But here's the key to swing trading. We get this question a lot: swing trading versus day trading. Swing trading, I am building positions. I am not going in full bore on that, because stuff can happen, gaps and all that kind of stuff. I want to add and build up to a full position on my swing trades as it moves in my favor. Whereas a day trade, there's not going to be an overnight gap because it's a day trade. So I can go in with a little bit more share size. So again, I'm telling you this a day before it happens. I'm looking to start building a position in Walmart because of everything I just told you, including earnings pulling back to that level. So this would be 1/3, 1/3 of my position looking to build up. If it holds and rallies, I'll look to add on the next pause. If it does not and pulls back and stops me out, I only have 1/3 of my risk. So I'm actually okay with that. But I thought it would be kind of fun talking about that on Monday, what we're looking for on Tuesday, both in the market as well as in Walmart stock, which is scheduled for earnings tomorrow. And there's a bunch of retail earnings coming out this week as well. There was also some news about JetBlue and aggressive buyout. So take a look at that news. I want to get into more ideas, though. I want to make sure I give you plenty of ideas for today. So we gave you, if you just happen to log in, we gave you General Mills, and we also talked about CPB. Okay, so those are a bunch of ideas that are on the list for right now. Now we're actually going to get into where we have some ideas that have come off the low with heavy volume. And if you're familiar with the metaverse, which I'm not, I don't have any of those goggles or anything like that, RBLX has had some really big bearish order flow over the last 6 months after it was touted as one of the big metaverse stocks. And now it's coming off the lows after earnings with pretty heavy volume. So we're going to start leaning now into some ideas that have some heavy volume and potential accumulation. So that doesn't look like anything spectacular, but then you start to add that into the equation. We are now actually starting to put on some interesting ideas where the accumulation is starting to come in. So you have big moves to the downside. You have explosions in volume on individual candlesticks. That's called exhaustion. Some people know that as a cleanup print. It's what happens after the exhaustion. If we continue to go sideways, churning on heavy volume, that's where we start to see accumulation. I know John A is on the call with us right now. He's a very big student of the 4 phases of price action that we watch. So now I want to talk about, obviously, RBLX is on the list for this week as well. Not bullish order flow. It's coming off the mat, right? That's a big thing. So what I want to talk about now is the beverages, okay? Beverages. So MNST is another one, right? Again, can't find breakouts. They're all over the place as long as you're doing the extra work. And we're going to get into KO as well and Pepsi. Okay, so these are all stocks that have had some bullish order flow while the market's going down. These are the kind of things that you need to uncover while the market is finding selling. Because if the market turns up, and again, we just mapped out the entire game plan for Monday and Tuesday. If we get the higher volume tomorrow and we get above 404 in the SPY, you already have a list of stocks to keep an eye on because they've already turned up. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, remember how we just said the market reversing on heavy volume? You also need to have a list of stocks that already had heavy volume while the market is still going down, heavy bullish volume. So these are stocks that are finding institutional attention in price action and volume. So I'm going to give you those stocks now. Okay. Yeah, actually, SE, that is actually one of the stocks that has had that pretty big. Yeah, let's hopefully they're not depression stocks, but I can tell you that in our house, Pepsi and chocolate, they definitely go together. That's funny. Anyway, so I want to give you the list of stocks we're going to go through now. Showed heavier volume last week and signs of a bullish reversal. So you might want to screenshot these stocks. Okay. So you can see I actually have activity here. So again, VERU, AFRM. So again, look at this volume in AFRM coming off of earnings. Absolutely amazing. So now here's the thing that you could be saying to yourself, well, AFRM is still in a big move to the downside. Why are we watching it? Remember what I said before about the tape changed. The story has now changed in AFRM, and we're looking for buyers. But because it's only one day after earnings, that's not enough order flow for me to lean on with size. So that's where we start to work orders on the swing trades. I'm willing to bet if you're finding swing trading to be a little bit challenging, number one, you're probably not sticking to your stop loss and you're holding losers that you should not be holding because you're afraid that it's going to turn around as soon as you get into it. There's always another opportunity. Don't hang on to those trades that aren't working. Number two is you're probably getting too much share size on your first entry. It moves a little bit against you, gets shaken out, and then it does exactly what you're supposed to. So remember, chart reading is different from trading. Trading is where the money's made. Chart reading is just where you sound smart. And all of us here, we all probably work really hard on our chart reading. It's the trading skills that we need to level up. So again, I'm giving you the list of stocks now that showed both price action and volume last week. So that means smart money started to pay attention to these stocks. Now it's a question of paying attention to them on a different type of move. So AFRM, BYND, and again, you can see the size of the volume. Look at that coming off of earnings. Again, look at the volume here. Coin was a little bit choppy last week, but again, look at the volume over 4 days. RBLX we just gave you. Again, look at the volume here. Unity Software actually took a hit last week, but the volume is coming back in. Riven, all-time lows. Look at the volume in Riven. Okay. I'm going to go through this entire list here. If you want, you can watch the video again. BROS. This is not an idea. Let me be clear about this. BROS came into the scan, but this isn't one that I've been looking to trade. APP, again, you're starting to look at the 4 days of volume around these stocks. Boeing is actually a bearish trade. I wouldn't be looking at Boeing on the long side. Boeing to me is still bearish. So I want to make a distinction between these stocks are interesting and reversing and maybe I'm going to look at versus some of them are just still straight up bearish. Boeing to me is still straight up bearish. We might get a day or two to the upside, but I like these other ones a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Wayfair. Look at the volume over the last week and a half in Wayfair. CVNA has a lot of news, and look at the size of the volume here. I want to talk about CVNA for a second. The CVNA has had massive volume and massive stories. Now, here's the thing. They have had news about layoffs. So the news about the layoffs in CVNA is, generally speaking, in stock market track record, so to speak, is short-term bullish because they're cutting their expenses on big layoffs. But there's a difference between we're increasing our revenues versus we're decreasing our expenses. If you understand that, that should be a short-term catalyst for a rally in CVNA. But then the next thing we need to pay attention to is next quarter, did that translate into increased net profits? And did they actually increase sales? So CVNA is going to be one that's interesting. We're going to keep an eye on over the next month or so. And then rounding it out with Pulte Homes. Again, you can start to see that we are seeing increased volume here, and we've stopped going down here. So that's going to be an interesting one as well. So there's a lot to talk about today. There's a bunch of stocks. Look at the list. I'm going to pull this up on the screen one more time so you can take a look at it right there. This is the list of the top 20 groups that I've actually been game planning for this week. So the one thing that we did talk about here is the fact that there's no big tech stocks here. We are not seeing any signs of life in the Apples, the Microsofts, or Meta platforms or any of those kind of things. Here's the thing to pay attention to this week as the market's unfolding. We're seeing a potential bullish reversal, and I gave you the entire outline on that at the beginning of today's call. SPY over 404 with volume. without technology stocks bouncing. Okay, we've been really talking about that in a big way. As interest rates go up, those growth stocks are going to have a problem. We're talking about a short-term bounce. We're talking about a 5-day to 10-day bounce this week and next week to end May. That's what I'm looking for if we see what I'm looking for tomorrow, okay, which is the SPY heavy volume over 404. If that happens, and if tech stocks rally with it, because remember, we're not seeing the big tech stock names here at all, right? If that happens, again, if this happens, then I plan to do this. If this happens, then I plan to do this. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of today's call about win-loss ratio. Win-loss ratio doesn't matter. It's what you make and plan on the big trades. We are mapping out right now the next 2 days and the next 2 weeks. And then we took it further and we said, if tech stocks join the party, the next 2 weeks of buying, if, and again, if it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, we're still going to trade other ideas anyway, but we're setting up the maximum picture perfect idea. If it unfolds, those 2 weeks can make your month. Those 2 weeks can make your quarter on the buy side, despite the longer term bearish order flow. You need to be prepared. Remember, this is one of my favorite quotes, and it's the one that drives me every day. I'd rather be prepared for an opportunity that never comes than not prepared if it does. So we're all prepared right now. It's going to be really, really fun to see how the market unfolds over the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be the big day. All right. I got to head out. I got to get ready for our other call, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. If this is the first time that you've been with us, definitely click down and subscribe and watch the next video that's coming up. It's a good training video on my favorite day trading indicator. All right. Have an awesome day, everybody. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Let's make it an awesome, awesome week of trading.